and my management committee colleague, A.C.S. Reddy Garu, and all the members. Welcome to the second day of the audit VCM on audit Excel VCM on the technology course. This one. I request Vice Chairman to give overview of the today's program.
Thank you, Secretary Sir, for the opportunity, and I welcome the speakers of the day, C.A. Premnath Sir, Saran Sir, Vijay Sir, and Alok Sir to the second day. Sir, the audience is waiting for you to say, and I would not like to add more. But before giving the session back to the Secretary, friends, as we all know, it was a big loss to the fraternity yesterday night. Late night, we came to know the sad demise of our past chairman of Hyderabad branch, C. Ajay Gandhi Sir. So may his soul rest in peace. Friends, we will continue the session today from where we left. So without I being the experts on the screen, I would not like to waste much of your time and request Satish Sir to take over the session from here and request speakers to take it forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Deepak Sir. Premnath Sir, requesting you to coordinate and proceed for the meeting.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Satish Sir and Deepak Sir. I thank members for their good feedback and response about the yesterday's session. And I thank my co-speakers also for effectively coordinating. Continuing yesterday's session. So yesterday we were talking about, I've taken the audit report and then looked into how the regulatory authorities who are behind the audit reports in a jovial manner. I can say now the regulatory authorities are auditing the auditors. I think the regulatory authorities' intention is to audit the auditors, and in that way the interpretation of prescriptive audit report auditing standards. I repeat again, the auditing standards is very clear. It is prescriptive. It is not like Companies Act. It is not like Income Tax Act. It is not like GST Act where it says should, must. These are the words used in the Act, but we don't find those things in auditing standards. But however, we are very good in interpreting Income Tax Act word to word between the words, in the same way Companies Act, in the same way GST. The same concept is borrowed by the regulatory authorities today, and they are going ahead in interpreting word to word and in between words on the chartered accountants. And this has become very challenging. However, it has started now. 4 reports now are available. For yesterday night, 1 report is released on our brother's firm, on Big Brother's firm. It is 343 pages. In 343 pages, more than 300 times they have used the word failed. Audit firm has failed to do this. So let me just try to share it quickly. And this is what is released yesterday. This is what is released yesterday. And you can just say 343 pages. And the word (273) times the word failed is used. And they have commented to such an extent prima facie illegal and void. The appointment itself is illegal and void, it seems. To that extent, the seriousness is there in the audit reports and documentation, whatever it is. Our Big Brother has promptly responded to them saying that they have complied. However, they will go through all these things and respond at appropriate time. And this is what we were discussing. So this is about the auditing standards, and this is about India's auditing standards, and they have given points what are all the non-compliances. And we have seen this in every NEFRA report. They are writing this. In every NEFRA report, they have made a point, and rather it has become a template for them to tell them if during subsequent review audit process it is found, meaning in the audit paragraph we are saying we have conducted audit in accordance with standards. In subsequent review like this, NEFRA has reviewed. In that review, like you have seen here, there are a lot of non-compliances they have reported and highlighted as per them. And if that happens, where in fact I'm saying I have complied, but in fact in the review we have seen a lot of places they have failed. In such case, it says it may tantamount to auditor making deliberate false declaration. They are using a very serious word, deliberate, false. Those who are law graduates, those who have very familiar with these words called deliberate and false, relating it with the criminal procedure code and all, then it gives an intention. They're intently doing it, meaning they're trying to give a color that fraudulently auditor is giving a fraud reports. To such kind of things are developing for whatever reason, for good or bad. So at a time where we have scarce resources at the offices, article students are extinct. They are slowly, we can't even find them now. So under such situations, technology alone can play a dominant role. So on one side, we are sandwiched. On one side, we don't have resources. On the other side, regulatory authorities, we have three sides of pressure. On one side, work pressure is increasing. On the other side, articles not available. The other side, regulators are trying to sandwich us. So under all these things, the only one thing which will save us is to rely more on the technology, improve addiction to the technology, make every process as tech-driven with more controls. More so, we all should live together. We all should network. The only way to survive at this point of time is only to network. I should thank the Institute has made I think 6 months back, Pankaj has made 6-7 months back, Pankaj has made very good initiative by calling the scarce firms and the surplus manpower, and then they have tried to make a network, but somehow it didn't materialize for whatever reason. But I say it is now high time we should again repeat and find out people who are willing for networking. Okay. Having said all this, let me just go into today's topic. Yesterday there was a question on what are all the contents of TDS of tax audit that can be customized through Tally. I think Alok will spend some time. And after that, Vijay Srinivas will be talking on GST, and Sharan also had made very good workings on that. And even I have a few issues to customize effectively for financial statements, right from the Tally, going into Tally background and then trying to do it. So those things we'll discuss. I think Alok is ready to make his presentation. Am I right?
Yes, sir. Yes, Prema sir. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Alok.
And let us continue with this, with the TDS part that we have been looking yesterday. And few more additions I have done into the TDS here. so that let's quickly have a view over the report, because I didn't take purchase example yesterday, and again in this example we have taken with purchase also. We can go with Alt G or DOT, whatever the shortcuts we use. And here in Form 26Q, if we see, let me just use escape once and just a sec. Yeah, going into it. Now here, default, if you observe, it is showing 10,000 balance deductible, right? Apparently things will be looking fine, only 10,000 and we just deduct 10,000 and things will be fine. But the problem here is I have already saved this format. So if I just do Alt F2 and April to March, and now if we see more data will be added to this Alt F2 Jan to March, I'll just display what will be the difference here, right? Now let us see in detail what are the information that we want to extract from the database. We need a separate report of what was the party, what was the different sections under which we have taken. Then we need what was the assessable value, what was the tax calculated on that, and how much is the actual deduction. In the given example, if you all of us can observe, if we just use Alt A, you can see we are getting section wise under party wise. And if we want party wise instead of category wise, here we can click on F5 shortcut and we can get the party wise under it. So now it is section wise. 194A, 194I, TDS on rent. There are two parties. I've taken Mr. Saran as an example and Mr. Landlord. And here we can find instead of 75, only 65,000 is deducted, or whatever the amount, because it was altered manually. And how can we find all this? Here, if we observe, we have some modified vouchers. And before we go into this, included in return, one booking voucher, only booking without deduction. We can see here because it is within exemption limit. Okay, that is understood. Booking with deduction voucher, all these details are readily available. We just need to explore how we can extract these reports. Here we can see with deduction, Alt F2 April to March, and we can see here there's a deduction example also. Here, this is only deduction. Only deduction because of the first invoice, which was within exemption limit, TDS was not deducted on that. Later, exemption limit crossed, so TDS was deducted on the original bills also. For advance payment to party. In case of advance payment, this TDS was deducted and later it would have been adjusted. So all these data are available. This is a reversal. This is the example which I was telling. It was 75,000 rupees that was deducted as TDS. I have reversed in an example 10,000 rupees. So wherever we need to have this reversal, we can pass a reversal entry also under journal and it will be reflected separately. All these informations will be available under included in return. Now, after saving the view, after save view, I have done modification for few transactions and we are able to see what transactions we have modified, what masters and what transactions. These are the ledgers which I have modified after this. And these are the vouchers which are altered after. One is altered and two are created. All this information is readily available. You can see these are created. These TDS on purchase, whether it is applicable or not, all these configurations can be set within the software. All we need to do is we can advise the clients the TDS configuration should be set in a proper way. Here with whatever section 194Q, and these settings are automated. The best part is if the settings are automated, then the probability of error or fraud are eliminated. Now, even if the person does not select TDS ledger, if the ledger has the enabling option, then it will reflect that assessable value is visible, tax deductible is visible, tax deducted will be less, and it will be clearly visible in front of us. We don't have to search for it anymore. It's readily available here. Now, in the same place, when we go, let's see once again, April to March, I'm just taking directly. It's showing this is the TDS page to have a payment. Generally, in the client locations, we will not find that even if they enable the options, payment entries will not be passed through this mode. They should use this statutory payment option, whether it is for GST, TCS, or TDS. Any option they can take for whatever the duration, deducted till let's say 31st March, and under whatever sections, all details can be taken for. And once we go ahead, the entry will be automatically created. And this entry, let me complete it. Okay. Now this entry is visible. Let's see what is total paid now. It is still showing 30,000 rupees because it is not reflected because it is not reconciled. So all that is required to be done here is we need to challan reconciliation. Show all. F8. And he's not pick the reconcile. Fine. Let me go to that entry once again. Daybook. I think it's not saved. Yeah. DOT. And let's go to this form once again. We can see. Okay, let me. If TDS was not deducted for this 10,000, first we need to deduct this TDS or J, and we can select the party name will be automatically reflected, and we can see that this deduction entry is also created. Now this deduction is done. Okay, it is showing under this modified voucher because we have not yet rectified it. As I said, I have used the save view option. Once it is saved, it will not reflect directly. Alt F2 April to March. Now we can see that that 10,000 rupees has gone from here. See, these are minute things. If we do not change the duration and directly we see here, we'll feel why we have, once we have deducted 10,000, why it is not reflecting here. It's just because we have just saved the return. All we need to do is we can modify the return. Fine. Next, as we were discussing under this Alt F1, if we want category wise, we are getting all the information under which category, what is the PAN number. If PAN numbers are not visible, configuration options are there. Show PAN number and show detail. By default, this setting was not there. By default, it will be no, and we will not be getting the PAN and it will be condensed. This is the default setting. We can always enable the option and check the details, PAN number, and all details are available here. Even some balance deductible is there, that will also be visible in front of us. The way we have just seen, it was 65,000 instead of 75. Once we have ensured that 10,000 is also created, now it is showing clear. And the same report can be extracted into Excel with details or without details, with Alt F1. We can extract the way we want. Any questions in this TDS point here? You can quickly put in the chat box too. And the same reports, how we can get under for audit report, that we'll be seeing in Excel again. Sure. With sir. There was a query that if Tally gives report of short deduction of TDS. Yes, if short deduction is there. In my example, I have deducted short. You remember 65,000 was there. Let's see. In this case only, you can see 10,000 was short deducted. Now, if configuration itself is wrong, instead of 10% we write 2, we take 2%. That will not be visible in the screen directly, right? Apart from this, TDS outstanding, any TDS which is deducted but not yet paid will be visible in this location. Wherever the payment to the department is pending, it can be seen here. And all this ledger without PAN, and this was the place of challan reconciliation. Show all, and we can see here all debts April to March, and we can see. I think this we have seen yesterday also. Let us explore and export this into Excel now. All debts April to March, and just taking as a sample with the entire year. We can see here this is under exemption limit, and if we have created anything under 197, 197A, that would have reflected in these locations. Anybody who has not provided the PAN number, in case the client's PAN numbers are party's PAN numbers are not there, it will be automatically reflecting here. And directly from here, we can save the return and we can go ahead with that. Now at this location, let's see how we can export it. I would prefer to go for category wise, so that category is on the top, and we are ready with this. Let's say configure, show more, and it's an Excel format, whatever the worksheet name we want to take. And if you want to open the file, whatever the location, whatever the file name. Okay. Okay. Control. And then just send. And now we'll be ready with the Excel sheet with the report. So here the report is available in front of us. And we can easily pick the details from here. If PAN number is also not there, then also it will be visible there. And at the same time, let's see all this, how to configure these things in Tally. F11 in this TDS options are already in the company's location. It's already enabled. It's important if we set the or alter the person responsible so that these things can be printed in the challans. All these details can be filled here. And if, say example, the company says we want to ignore the IT exemption limit totally for TDS deduction, then this is for the company-wide deduction. We can directly say yes. And now if we make it yes, it will ignore exemption limits, whatever we have said, whether it is 2,40,000 for rent or 30,000 for professional fees or any, everywhere it will ignore it. And it will show that tax is deductible. If we don't want for the entire company wide and we want only for any ledger wise, we can go for any ledger for alteration into ledger. Let's say whatever the party name or landlord. And here also we'll get the option use advanced TDS entries. Here we make it yes. This is the place. Ignore surcharge exemption limit. Ignore income tax exemption limit for specific ledger. Then we can make it applicable here. Since I've used it and I've taken for the first 1,50,000 under exemption, I'm not setting it. So let it be not applicable. And for lower rate of deduction, we can always configure from here and we can set here. Let's say for whatever service under 197 or 197P. If this configuration settings are perfect, then data is automatically going to be correct. Now the point comes, many times we find that what if people deliberately manipulate with the data? Can we set TDS deduction automation in the invoice? Yes, we can do that. For that, we can simply go to alteration and go to voucher type and let's say purchase voucher type, and we'll find here under purchase, if we say purchases, whatever name we want to give, we can give for the class. If we want separate for local and interstate, we can give separate for local purchase and separate for interstate purchase. That can also be done. I'm just giving one example here. Let's say purchase or purchase taxable, whatever ledger we want to take. Okay. Here we can take by default, let's say we want CGST because it is local, SGST because we want SGST, TDS wherever applicable, so TDS on purchase, and automatically these things will be calculated. Now, manual calculation errors will be eliminated. The person will not be able to modify the GST intentionally also. So neither the error nor it is intentional fraud. Both will be avoided here. Now let's see again if we want some any round off ledger is also created. Now let's take as total amount rounding, as normal rounding to 0, or let's say 1. Enter. Now let's see what happens when we automate this. When we go for this automation, once it is used, we can rely on the data that you can see the calculation of GST and other details will be automated here. Whatever the bill number, invoice, party name, let's say local Mr. Vendor A. And we have taken here whatever the item, let's say Apple. Okay, habits 100, whatever the rate be. And now we can see that GST calculation is automated. Let's make it 99 at billing with also 99. 20,999.99. And we can see the tax calculation, and this is also automated. The TDS is not deducted because 50 lakh limit was there. At the same place, if we just make 1,000, 1111, 1111, and we can see that okay. Now rounding off, everything is working fine. TDS on purchase, let's see here, because I have taken the other purchase ledger which I have not linked with it, that's why it is not deducted. Configuration F12, show all configurations, yes. And let's say for TDS, let's say everything is fine, modify, show TDS, yes. Okay, one more point here. We can disable this common ledger so that we get this. Okay, let me just use save it. I think I can save it. Let me just move out and check the report now. Yeah. This was the purchase transaction which we have just seen. I think it is not saved, right? Yeah. Let's take the item. Whatever the amount be. Yeah. Now we can find here that it is asking for purchase taxable ledger here because of this configuration setting. Use common ledger. Use common ledger account for item allocation was initially yes. That's why it is picked from this location. We have made it no now. Okay, F9. Let's take purchase. Local purchase is what we have created. Let me just check the voucher type once again. Alter voucher type. Purchase. Yes, we have given local purchase. We have taken purchase taxable. Let us take purchase taxable here. Now, let's see what was the issue here. In the purchase ledger, let's say alter purchase ledger, and here we have taken purchase ledger, though there we have picked purchase taxable. That was the difference. Here we have set in purchase ledger, right? And this is purchase taxable. Here we have set it right. Voucher, alter voucher type, purchase, purchase taxable, and TDS, let's say this one. Now we have saved it. Now it will reflect in our place also. Party name. What was the party name we have taken? Mr. Vendor. Okay. In Mr. Vendor, this was one of the reasons why we have not got TDS in this location. Let's say it was a company, and here again we have to take link with the same. This linking is important. If anywhere this link is broken, then it will not calculate TDS properly. Again, if I don't take the PAN number, it will calculate at the rate of 5% instead of 0.1%. Now when we take the product, Now you can see the cursor does not go to the GST ledger at all. The cursor does not go to the GST ledger. Intentionally also nobody can alter it. Even if I use backspace or enter, the cursor does not go to it. So this eliminates the chance of error or fraud. Now, I'll just display this once again. It is not SQL configuration in voucher of purchase. Or let me show voucher F9 for purchase. And if I don't take this and I just take this without the class, sorry, I take it without the class, not applicable. And let's see with the same party, whatever the party name be. By default setting, it is still taking purchase as default setting. That's why it is not detecting TDS. I'll just display. Here we can see TDS is automated. Purchase taxable 194Q TDS on purchase. Based on this, TDS is automatically detected. With the new reference of TDS. And now when we see the report, here we see this grant supplying TDS to be detected. The same thing we have exported into Excel, and from Excel we can generate the reports that we want further. I think for Excel into TDS, for any such support, Saran sir, if you'd like to add on something on TDS reports.
Nothing. Yes, you can go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes, it's fine.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Alok, I think there is one query in the Q&A, if you can address.
Yeah, I'll just check, sir. Voucher entry for sale. Okay. Right. I'll just quickly display. In the same way, we have to configure for sales too. When we go for voucher, F8 for sales. Same way, sales ledger could also be created. Like you can see, I'll just display some sample which is already created here. Alter voucher type, sale. I'll just display this counter sale which is already created as a sample. Here we have used even with like supermarkets where they want all this with point of sale invoicing, local sale. And here we have taken some bank cash at counter sales with packing charges, if any, cash discount, CGST, SGST, IGST, and rounding as a sample in this example. Similarly, we can add the option of TCS here. And now when we go for any such voucher, F8, see, all these things are readily available. We just need to create or alter the voucher type the way we want. Shall I display that voucher type in case anybody, if you require, you can just.
Yeah, please do it. Please do it.
Otherwise, I'll continue.
Please do it.
Okay, I'll just display it again. Slowly now. Alteration, voucher type. Because voucher type alter setting is very significant for us. Let's say sales. I have created one counter sale, or we can create it. This is one of the important areas. Now, one by one, I'll be displaying all the configuration options in sales ledger. Automatic or manual. If it is manual, while verification of the data, if it is manual, like yesterday, I think Saran sir was telling that duplicate transactions. If it is automatic, there is no reason to search for duplicate transactions in the database. But if it is manual or automatic manual override, then there is a possibility. Suppose I take it automatic manual override, and once we change it, then existing transactions will, there will be no effect right now for us because it was already automatic. Fine. So if we take manual, in that case, it will ask for, let me show one. If I go for create and I create local sale or whatever it is under sale, And now, if I take manual, it will ask the question, do you want to prevent duplicates? This configuration setting should be yes right from the beginning in client locations. If it is no, later it cannot be made yes. Once it is manual and they have passed some transactions, no, you cannot make this option yes. So we can ensure that it is automatic or no. Now, next point comes advanced configuration. If you want to set anything, I'll just display with one. Say example, starting number 1, width of numeric part, let's say minimum 3 characters, prefix with 0, yes, whatever the format we want, yearly, monthly, daily, whatever format we want to have, we can configure it with prefix, let's say ICAI /001 / whatever it is, or only prefix or with some suffix. And if during the year we want to change the prefix or suffix, even that can be done. Let's say 21-22. All these settings should be automated instead of having some manual data there. Use for POS, if we make it yes. Message to print, whatever messages are required. Default title to print, let's say tax, invoice. Already it is there. I'm just adding it once again. Otherwise, welcome to organization, like such messages could be there. Otherwise, it will be printed twice. Default bank, let's say SBI. Default jurisdiction, let's say Hyderabad. Any declaration, set goods, whatever the declaration is the company wants. And let's say sales. Local sale I've linked with sale. If gift vouchers, etc., I'm just taking everything as it is with not applicable so that all these things will be visible in the invoice for the client. Taking sales, we don't need to set or alter the tax class here because we'll be taking from the stock items directly. Right now, it is not going to be required. Anything that we want below totals can be added here, like cash discount ledger example is visible here. Cash discount will be total amount, rounding or user defined value. Let's say user defined value. CGST can be set here. SGST can be set here. And so on. Anything that we want to add below the total, rounding off, as example, I've taken rounding off as total amount rounding, normal rounding with one rounding limit. So now once we do it, we'll just see one example with this. When we go to voucher, F8 for sales, under this now we have one we have just now created local sale, and if we take in sale, we can see that the remaining things are all automated. With whatever go down, let's say habits, party's name, if it is party or if it is customer, directly not applicable. We can take with any party, let's say Mr. Debtor A. Now, if we have multiple addresses, we have permitted, otherwise primary, whatever address saved in the database. Any price level, if we have created, then it could be taken. Then the price will also be automated. See, if everything is automated, if the price is automated, the rates are all automated, GST calculations, percentages, everything is automated, then the chances of error or fraud will be very low. Let's say, now I've not taken any price list here. Now you can see here, cursor does not go to the quantity. Because if we want automation skip quantity, it has been enabled and the rate is also not visible. F12, if we want to permit, then going to this, making it yes, and we get a lot of options. Yes. And in this, we'll be getting skip the modify rate. It is no, so it's not going to the rate option. Let's say yes for now. And quantity, skip the show quantity of stock item is okay. Skip quantity, here it is. If we make it no, now we'll be able to enter the quantity. So now both the facilities are there. If we want, the user can enter the quantities. If we want, we can restrict so that if it is linked with the barcoding structure, barcoding system, then automatically with the barcode at a time, one only will be entered. So if they want to change it, that can be done. Now I have removed it. So now when we go to this, now we'll be able to enter quantity. You can say 10, 10. Now it is possible that actual is 10, but billing is only for 9 because there is one unit free. In case of free unit, GST reversal will be required on the case of purchase, right? Because we have purchased and we have adjusted we have taken the claim of that 1 unit. That reversal will be required. So let's say 10 units, rate 21,000, whatever we have taken, and rest all is automated. Now, at the same place, you can see since cash discount was manual, it is asking, let's say minus 2,000, and now whether payment was in cash, card, whatever mode, we could take it in let's say SBI and say 2 lakh, card number whatever it is, and remaining by cash. Cash at counter we have created at cash at counter. Cash tendered, it could not be less than 45,800, which is the value pending. If I take 799, it will not permit. But if I take 46,000, it will permit. Anything above it, it will show the balance 200 is to be refunded. And this automation will ensure that GST calculation is not wrong if masters are correct. We can preview the print, or is it for Zoom, and we can see the card number is not visible here because it should not be visible as per setting. Who is the user at what time stamp is also visible in the invoice now. And all the calculations are visible. So if automation is applied, then we don't need to bother, or we don't need to worry about mistakes, errors, or frauds in such invoices. This was about a sample of a sale invoice and some TDS we have seen. Quickly, let's have some more information with Excel, and then we'll, as time permits, we'll again come back to some more information into the same software. So may I request, Premna sir, can you just advise either Saran sir or Vijay sir?
Yeah. What I wanted to say here, looking at this configuration again.
Yes.
Looking at this configuration again.
Yes, sir.
Alok sir has demonstrated so many types of vouchers can be created. So many types of vouchers can be created in purchases, in sales. We have seen at the counter sales and the cash sales, credit sales, and all. And can you just okay? I'll let me
share the screen, sir?
Yeah, I'll just share my.
Okay.
Let me share my tally.
Meanwhile, there is a question, Alokji. Is there any log available for change in the masters?
Yes, log is available for change in masters, created and altered, and who has created or altered. That details can be seen. I think yesterday we had seen that point, and again we'll see when we are seeing that audit details.
Sure.
Definitely, I'll display it.
Yes.
We can see the type of vouchers here. Under this type of vouchers, you have attendance vouchers, and then payment vouchers, payroll vouchers. So many things, so many. Meaning, all these more the number of vouchers, more the number of voucher types, more the number of voucher types, and these voucher types are assigned to a particular employee only. And then it's like a real ERP for a small SME, and we the auditors can surely depend on it. Most of the time we have seen the tally is used as to cash by cash, and I have seen only journal is used even for cash receipts and payments. Such a pathetic on such kind of things, audits are being done. Now what I'm saying is, if 30–40% of the business people are not able to customize all these vouchers and allocate it, restrict as per the information system audit, to my mind, at least 30–40% of the members today are qualified ESA holders. So having done this ESA audit, let us start that ESA audit on our own clients in configuration point of view, so that the books and the ledgers that are generated will become more reliable. This is what I keep saying again at the cost of boring you. I repeat again and again. Let us exchange work. Let us please exchange work of configuration. Let us learn. The institute also is proactive enough. They wanted to conduct one full day training on hands-on experience, so that we can straight away learn and go to the client and start implementing, create value additions to that. The point what I am again saying is, instead of using only 7 vouchers, not even 7, only 3 or 4 vouchers are used in many companies. I say it is high time that we should take up this job of, you can just see how many types. In one of the companies I have seen almost 250 plus type of vouchers they have used. You can understand the kind of control they are going to have it. Once we have this kind of configurations, then even SAP or even CBS, where we are struggling, in the bank audits where we are struggling for the CBS, all that will become cakewalk for our audits. I thought this is what I wanted to share, and then I leave it to either Sharon or Vijay to start their presentation.
Yes, Sharon will be taking through, sir. Before that, probably I can add one more point. Maybe our members might have this idea. It's only that you identify one particular staff out of your firm who can get trained on this kind of configuration. You entrust him the kind of work what Premna sir was mentioning about, while you network, or probably take it as an outsourcing work kind of thing. So that will be a value addition to your revenue, and at the same time, the ROI in terms of whatever you invested on that particular training, it's coming back, and it's win-win. Probably the quality of configuration is also going through across the firms. Probably we can come out something if required. Probably we can brainstorm at the branch or whatever how to take this particular plan. But definitely it's the time, considering the March 24 circular notification which is going to come, make it true by next year. So I thought I'll just add this idea. Yes, sir. Saran sir, please continue.
Thank you, sir. In fact, after seeing the Alok sir session, if properly tally configured, I think you need not to open any Excel file actually. Okay, you can directly take the printout of audit report and sign. However, I'm opening this considering 90% of the firms assuming they had to follow the proper configuration. Okay, however, analytics is something very important for doing the audit. Okay, you are doing the audit in the tally. Maybe if Alok sir, whatever the way he covered the configuration and everything, okay, that give you some comfort. However, you need to do your job, okay, as an auditor. So if you need to do your job along with the tally configuration settings, audit and log file verification and all other things which Alok sir demonstrated yesterday and even today, once you get the data into the Excel and small things, I'll add here so that maybe that will be very much helpful to you. Since yesterday Prema sir is very much mentioning about the validation controls. Many a times we miss the validation controls. Whatever the data we get from the client, we try to think everything is correct. Okay, so these all are ideal scenarios, like they are going to provide the tally application. We do the entire audit in the tally and directly we'll take the print out of it and so on. But many a times we get the data into the Excel and client also shares the data into Excel. This is most practical. Okay, once client shares the data into the MS Excel, there are many things client can do. Okay, client in the sense maybe client accountant or the user who might have messed up with the data and he don't want to card when you do the audit, so he again try to do little smart work. So here I would like to cover 2 basic validation controls which I would like to cover immediately here. Of course, there are so many things we can cover, but I'll start with 2 here, then we'll go slowly one after other. After this validation control topic of another 5 to 6 minutes, we'll go into the analytics of proper daybook. Okay, so once you get the daybook, as an auditor, if you take one ledger, how you can get the entire extract of the ledger and how you can do little analytics out of it. Okay, so this is what the data I got, the sales data from the client just for the analysis purpose. Client shared this data. If you are a regular auditor, okay, maybe if you are not attending this session of Alok sir or maybe Premnath sir, you may directly take this figure and you will go and you take this figure into your reports and you will present. Okay, because this is the total generally you consider which is correct. Okay, so that is the place where validation controls are very much required. How do you believe that this number is correct? Generally, we all think that Mr. Sarah, nothing wrong as long as the range is correct. We have considered because it has taken from C3 column C50. So range is correct. So obviously that total is correct. So that's not the case all the time. In between, if any text value is there, do you know that your sum function ignore that? Yes. Okay, so that we are not sure, because maybe tomorrow when you are looking into the practical data, there may be 10,000 records. You can't go to the each and every record and cross check whether it's a text or not. Of course, there are so many validation functions we have. Let me introduce a couple of small functions which are very much helpful while you are doing the audit. The function is text, okay, which can tell whether a particular value is a text or not. So wherever it's false, that means it's not a text. Wherever you find it true, that means it is a text. So this is a text value. And again, there is one more function. These all are very important functions you need to at least learn. May not be now. Once you are back at your home, maybe next couple of days. There is other way around function to know whether it is a number or not. Every time it need not to be a number. Okay, this is one other function. There is one more function called T, which can tell if it is a text, it just shouts loud. If it is not a text, it just keep quiet. Now it's not a text, it is idle. That means nothing happened. So it's a blank text. When I just drag this, see, all the text got highlighted. You may be asking, Mr. Saran, in a practical way, this may not be feasible because we may get the data having so many columns. So do you think for every column we need to insert so many formulas? Not required. I'll give you a very simple shortcut. You can just put some, or else you can take the same formula what the client has sent across to us, Control C, you can just put Control V. You need not to do anything, just put into 1. What happened, you know, whenever you put into 1, whatever the text number will convert into the normal number. You do Control Shift Enter if it is an old version. If it is Office 365, you can simply enter. I can simply do Control Shift Enter. Otherwise, instead sum, even you can take some product, anything is fine. Check it out. The values are different. So once the values are different, then you can immediately understand there is something wrong with my data. Friends, remember, once you believe the data and take it further, the entire chain will go wrong. If you take this value into your further formulas, all the formulas will go wrong. So wherever it is possible, have the validation control at every step of your process, so that this all can later act also as a working paper. Tomorrow, once you get a call from the regulator, so you can at least tell them or demonstrate them, sir, this is the way I generally do my audit with respect to the analytical procedures. Maybe let us take here, this is another case study. Just because I covered now, you immediately, because this is also some function, you immediately try to apply the same into 1. What I asked you to do, instead enter, do Control Shift Enter. It is giving the same answer. That means, can I conclude that my total is correct? No. I said that is one of the way. There are many ways the client can mess up with the data. So the very important aspect in the audit working files, especially with my experience, I found which can mess up the entire data is the merged cells. I don't know how many of you find a problem using the merged cells till now. If you are not, that means you are missing the important aspect in MS Excel. Let me tell you a very brief thing of merged cell. Let's say if I write something here, this 100 looks like it is there in the B1 cell. But the fact is, when you put a value in the merged cell, the value is always belongs to the first cell. What about remaining cells? Remaining cells are inactive at the back end. When you refer to the inactive cell, this is A1. It has selected the entire thing, you got 100. When you put equal to B1, though it is looking like it is selecting 100, but it is blank. So if you refer to a blank cell, your answer is 0. Now, friends, when I put this left alignment, it is appearing as if it is there in the A1. When I put center alignment, it is appearing as if it is there in the B1. When I put right alignment, it is appearing as if it is there in the C1. Many a times I found, because I get a lot of calls from CAs, when they are working at the end, the balancing figure is, there is some balancing figure in the assets and liabilities. So they ask me to review. When we start reviewing this, the small, minute thing, they go wrong. So in this case, maybe if you observe carefully, it looked like the entire data is there in the C column, but many cases, there are merged cells. Check it out. Maybe you can find one merged cell here. It looks like this 156 belongs to the C column, but the value is actually belongs to the B column, and so on. You can see here also there is one more merged cell. Here also there is one more merged cell. So my first suggestion, when you get any working file from the client, or even when you are reviewing any work of your subordinate, you first cross check how many merged cells are there. You just go through each and every merged cell. If it is really required, keep it. If not, just go and check. Because of that, any formula or any data is impacting. Sir, identification is fine. Okay, here we identified that there are so many merged cells. But how to find them? Because we need to do, and we need to cross check whether it is required or not, right? Let's say this is also merged cell. This is also merged cell. This is also merged cell. There are so many places in this sheet, merged cell is there. My only question to all of you, how you can find all those merged cells so that you can review them whether it is required or not. It's very simple. I asked you the question how to find. Control F. Control F finds the numbers. That's nothing but the values. Control F finds the format. Control F even finds the formulas. You can click the options. You can go to the format because I want to find the format, but not the value. Go to the alignment. You can click a button called merged cell. That means I want Excel to find this merged cell. Once I click OK, generally, whenever we are trying to use Control F in MS Excel, we immediately click enter. If 20 times are there, we have a lot of patience in those cases. We keep on press enter, 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 enter. But if you can observe one button here, that is find all, maybe your job will be very simple. Let me click find all. What it does, it identifies all the merged cells here and it will display everything one below other. Okay. What is the shortcut in MS Excel to select everything? Select all, Control plus A. I can simply do Control plus A. What happens if I select all in the find pop-up? At the back end, all these cells got selected. Now let me close this pop-up. Maybe you can color this. You can just go through from top to bottom all these colored items. Then you will get to know whether any merged cells are there. If yes, whether it is really required or not. If it is part of any of the number values, maybe you can unmerge it and you can align properly. Okay. These two validation controls are also very important. Of course, when something you find fishy, okay, now if you observe here, 156, I found even 360, and I found 446, a couple of values are there. That means there is something intentionally they might have changed. Couple of important functions. In fact, yesterday Vijay sir covered about some of the date functions that includes the weekday function. What I can simply do, I can use a function called weekday. Otherwise, even you can use a function called a text. For this date, I can put in double quotation. I want to convert this text, this value into the full day format or short day format. If it is short day, you can put DDD. If it is a full day, you can put 4D. What happens, this function will take this value, then it's going to convert into the short day format. That means short weekday. That includes, that is sun, SUN, MON, TUE, and so on. Let me enter. You can just simply copy and paste. I got to know that this particular company working on Saturdays, but not on Sundays. So you can simply put the filter. Let me have the filter till here. Then what I can simply do, I can just highlight all the Sunday transactions. You can just click enter. Exactly. Whatever the data he entered, those all belongs to the Sunday. Maybe this is one example we created. Like that, you can just go in depth into the particular account or particular day transactions and so on. Because on this particular day, if we can enter this type of transaction, you should not restrict here, because that is what the analytical procedure. You should go a little further. What I can do in the next immediate point, I'll just go to the Tally or the ERP. I download all the transactions belongs to this. Maybe I found some suspicious ledger account, then I'll take all those ledger accounts. This is the way we are connecting from one dot to all the dots. That is what the proper audit, right? So these all are the two data validation controls, which I just would like to cover quickly here. Okay. Always in my session, in between, you will have a little more tips. I'll cover one quick tip here. That's nothing but, I don't know how many of you use auto correct option effectively. Okay, in my office, I use very effectively at my laptop at office. Let me tell you what exactly the auto correct. Mistakenly, okay, I used TEH. Excel at the backend has a dictionary of all the values which are auto corrected. Instead, TEH I should ideally enter THE, but mistakenly I enter TEH. But if you click space, Excel correct it automatically. Maybe this is actual use is to correct your language, but I can use for my CA office. How I'll do it, let me go to the options. This is a small tip. It will not take more than 1 minute. I'm sure you will enjoy this.
Screen is not visible, sir.
Screen is not
Oh, is it?
visible.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I correct. Because this, in this.
And there is one more query about displaying the text formula again.
Okay, so I'll do it again.
Or maybe they can view it in YouTube. Possible later. Maybe we can.
Yeah, no, I'll anyway cover that. I'll anyway cover that. For example, let me take today's date. My friend, whoever missed the text function, let me explain you. Text function is basically, it converts a value into whatever the format you want. Okay, so I want to convert this value into which format. With respect to the dates, there are so many formats. Maybe after the session, I can put all these format codes into one Excel and I'll share to the institute. But for the time being, D means it is a single letter, a single digit of day number. DD means double digit of day number. DDD means short name of the weekday. DDDD is the full name, and so on. Let me put in double quotation DDD. Why I'm covering in the double quotation? Because it's a text. Once you close it, it's going to give you today is Friday. So I got your FRI. If you put DDD, maybe you'll get Friday. If you put instead of this, I want to know the month number, month name, you can put MMM. If you put the 4 M's, maybe you can have the full month name. Whoever missed that point earlier, I hope you got it here. Okay, I'm covering about the autocorrect option. Okay, let us see how we can use this autocorrect option in our day-to-day work. How I use it, I'll tell you. If it is useful, maybe you can just adopt it. I'll just put backward slash just to make sure that my work is simple, or else you can use any, for that matter, anything. I may start with even hyphen or underscore. Generally, I use backward slash because if you use either equal to or plus symbol or minus symbol, that means consider it as a formula. Okay. Now what I do, let's say I have a client called Vijay. Okay. So wherever I put backward slash Vijay, it should give me the company name, Vijay Consulting Private Limited. Okay. Full name as per legal. Many a times while we prepare any document for the client, sometimes we put PVT Ltd, sometimes we put private limited, sometimes we put P in the bracket Ltd, because we forget what we kept earlier. We are thinking it's sometime new, so we keep on put different values. So the only difference, if you ask me, between the big 4 firms and small firms or medium firms, the comparison is they are good with the documentation. Okay, they are very much consistent in the presentation. Okay, of course they are also reading the same accounting standards. We are also reading the same. They are also reading the same, following the same standards of auditing. We are also doing the same. But the premium, because their presentation is good. Okay, they follow the consistency. There are, of course, they have their own team to look into those things. But since we are small firms or medium firms, we may not have, so we can adapt these small type of things. Okay, once I put add, once I click OK, maybe in my office, maximum for 20-30 clients, we do the service. For example, as an example, you can't directly put backward slash because backward slash having its own meaning. So you can put single quote backward slash. I can simply put Vijay whenever I want to refer. So automatically that come. So what I'll do, maybe it may take little time on the first time. Yesterday I told you, right, how to use custom list. Only for the first time it takes little time. After that, your job will be very simple. Now let me go to the proofing. I want to know Mr. Vijay GST number. Okay, I can just put GST. Okay, whenever I put here Vijay GST, maybe 37 ABE PU 6561B 6562C then 1Q 2. Okay, something like that. Let's put this. Okay, so let's click OK. Let's click OK. So next time, whenever I just would like to get backward slash Vijay GST, okay, my job is very simple. This is what I actually follow at my office. Maybe if you can spend little time, first time whenever you are using a particular system, you add all those items. It takes maybe 1 day time for your staff to keep all the items. But I'm telling you, the data will be most consistent, and the presentation will be great, and the time will be saved. No errors you can find in the reports or whatever you are going to present. Okay, so this is one quick tip I would like to give. Let me just close this file without saving because nothing is there inside.
Can we add a detailed comments in that section also?
We can do that. In fact, that is what I was telling yesterday. In fact, Premnath sir was mentioning. You can put, but the problem is, Vijay sir, it's having a limit of 255 characters. Okay, so if anything going beyond 255 character, it will not work. Otherwise, if your text is below 255 characters, absolutely it work.
Great.
Okay, yeah, you can put. In fact, if you look into my Excel, let me open one Excel file. Is my blank Excel visible for everyone now? Let me check again. Yeah, okay. Let's say, for example, I want to find about the fraud in the Caro, something like this. Okay, no, Caro. You can just put Caro the point number 5. Once you enter, maybe that description can come. You can do a lot of such type of things at the back end. Okay, so that is possible, but the description maximum which replace with is 255 characters. Okay, let me stop here. These tips, can you can add like a list in autocorrect option? No. In the custom list, there is an import option, but in the autocorrect, no. Okay, so let me cover the proper. I've taken some sample data, guys. This is a cooked up data. Don't look into the numbers and so on. This is something prop. Yeah. Yes, Vijay sir.
Screen need to be shared.
Yeah. Sir, I habituated with the screen sharing. I'm sorry. Yeah, now I think it is visible. Guys, I need not to tell how to export the data, the daybook from the tally to the Excel. Okay, you all know the option called export. There you can put detail along with the description and so on. You can do that. I'm not doing that job. My job starts now from after you downloaded the data into the Excel, how you can convert into the proper format. Okay, just for the better thing, I already kept all the steps here. Why? Because maybe at the time when I am doing the steps, if you miss any of the steps, I'm going to share this file with the institute. You can just follow these steps. After I follow these steps, this is what the format in which I can make the entire daybook. But to prepare into this format, you should do little work. Okay, that work I would like to do now. Now let me just copy this data. I can just open another Excel workbook. Since it is a other Excel, of course, I need to share it. Okay, I think this is visible. If you have any experience using SAP or Oracle or any of the big ERPs, there is a document number which is available. Of course, Alok sir already told in the today's session also, for each transaction, you can generate a transaction number. But in many cases, that's not people, you may not find it. But the uniqueness you can find is the voucher number. But voucher type and voucher number is the unique combination. Okay, journal, this is the first journal, this is the second voucher. In the journal subset, you will find the sequential order. But from the top to the bottom, I may not have a unique documentation number. This is the first thing I always suggest when you take the daybook. Okay, so what I'll be doing here, I will just put, okay, let me remove this row, extra row, little cleanup activity. Maybe you can take this as a date. You can take this as a part. This is a voucher type, voucher number. This is the debit. This is the credit. Guys, just to tell you one important function, is blank help you a lot many a times. Why is blank is required? Many times while you are doing analysis with MS Excel, it looks like a cell is a blank, but many a times it's not the blank. It may be a non-printable character. Just to identify whether the cell is a blank or not, you can just put it. Guys, what is the answer you got? False. But apparently what it looks, it is a blank. Even you just double click, nothing happened. Okay, so that means there is some character. Once you click F2 and enter, then only it is activating as a blank. So very important thing. This is very much required in case of cleaning activity, especially in Tally. when you take any report, you'll find these type of little issues. So what I'll be doing, I'll just put the proper filter. Okay, I will just go here. This is the date column. Just go to the end. I'm not sure why. Oh, I think the data went a little wrong with 1 second. Let me share the previous data. Okay, this is the original file. I don't know why it is. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, just for the time being, let me take this data copy. You know, it always having issues when we cook up our own data because we need to put all the links properly. Otherwise, it may go a little mess up. But don't worry. Yeah, this is the file. Now let me take let me remove this, and I don't want this. Then let's have the date column. Then you can have the particulars. Then you can have yeah. Then you can have this is the debit, and maybe this is the credit. I don't want these columns. Maybe you can simply delete this. Let me just go here, delete all these 4 columns just for the time being. Okay, so these are all columns which I feel very important. As I said, many a times you find these all are not text. So how you are going to identify? What I do, you know, I just put the filter. Filter is one of the very important feature. Now I can simply go here. Okay, go to the end, select the blanks. As I said, these all looks like blank, but these all are not blanks. Now I can go to the end, just Control Shift Home. That will take you to the first column. So I can identify all the blanks in this. Maybe from here, you can just go to the end, just come back here. I think some merged cell is there. That's fine. Yeah. I am not sure why it is selecting. Yeah, just give me 1 minute. Control F. Just now I've seen the merged cell. It seems a couple of cells are merged. What I'll be doing, yeah, because we know little Excel, I can just select all those merged cells. Let me color that. Okay, what I can do, can anyone tell me? Simple. I can filter based on the color. Then I can simply select all these rows. Okay, till the end, Control minus. It's not required. Let the job done. Yeah. Okay. So fine. Now what I can do, I can just go here. I can select the blanks. What I can simply do, you can just go till the end, maybe from here till the last cell, Control Home. You can simply go, my suggestion, a clear format. Otherwise, even you can just click delete. Once you click delete, just for the verification whether it's properly working or not, what is the function I told you? Is it the blank? Select it. Yes. You can just copy this. Maybe you can go to the end. Okay. You can go to the end. You can paste here. All are true. So earlier non-printable character is there. We have removed. That is one important step. Now what I do, I'll just put the documentation number. Documentation number help you to identify the related ledger accounts. How to get the documentation number here? It's very simple. I'll use a simple function called if. If the right side cell is blank cell, what is the meaning of it? If it is a blank, that means the above ledger journal or whatever the case, okay, which is repeating. That means the same document number I need to have. So I'll just take this. If not, if it is not a blank, then what is the meaning of it? It's a date. If it is a date, then I should take this plus 1 because my document number has to increase. Okay, before doing that, there are so many other than dates are there. Let me delete that. That is something, the junk data. I don't want those items. Again, this is something, the junk data which came mistakenly. Yeah. Let this go. Yeah, I think date somewhere gone wrong, but that's fine. As long as few records are there, that is fine. I think almost 12,000 records I'm deleting. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so now your dates are proper. what I'll be doing now. 1 second. Because I have taken even the blanks also. That's a mistake I have done. I want other than blank, I want to take everything. Okay, so this is the one I thought of deleting, but mistakenly even I have deleted the blanks. Blanks are very important. Okay, now if this is a proper data. Now let's take this. Now you can simply drag this. Once I drag it, I'm sure you know what is the answer, because the right side cell is a blank. So it's 1. This is 1. If I drag it, this is the second document. You can just simply drag till end. This can give you how many ledgers are actually there in the daybook. Okay, later you can do a lot of analysis. This just for this is just to give you the document number. Okay, let me just copy paste a special value. Why you are doing this paste special value? Because I'm going to fill the data here. Now let me enter this. Okay, now I don't want any of these descriptions. Later you can change it. Now I am going to just have F5. Okay, so F5 is something special for the audit. Especially you can select the blank cells, you can select the, because some of the cases where 10,000 records are there, where in between, instead of the format, they might have given the absolute figures. In those cases, this special is very important. In this case, what I want, I want the blanks. Let me select and click OK. So all the blanks got selected. What you need to do now, equal to just above cell, Control plus Enter. The advantage of Control plus Enter, okay, of course, this is as a text, it is there. What I'll be doing, I'll just clear all. Now I'll put equal to this, Control plus Enter. So the same form, the same above date appeared below. Okay, now, till here, I'm sure everyone understood. One thing which I have created is the document number using a simple function like if function. The second thing is I filled the date. Now I need to remove all the descriptions or narrations or whatever the case it is. How you can do that? It's very simple. First, I'll filter all the debits wherever the values are there. Let me select the blanks. Okay, blanks means where there is no value for the debit. Let me select for the credits where there are blanks. That means where debit is not there, credit is not there. That is something, maybe a narration or any other maybe running account and so on. But before doing that, make sure that you are copying this paste special value. Otherwise, if I delete those formulas, everything may go reference error. So I'll be just going here. Let me filter for debit blanks. Let me filter for the credits blanks. Then just select everything from top to bottom. Okay. Then you can simply put Control minus. It may ask the question, do you want to delete the entire sheet? Yes. Now this is the proper ledger account for you, proper daybook. Now on this daybook, you can just play with the data. Now what I'll do, I'll simply copy this and I can just go here. I'll paste special values. Why I did it? Because Tally always gives very messy format all the time. I can just put into the filter. This is the date column. I can just go and change my date into a proper format and you can do whatever you want. Okay, if you think this voucher type and voucher number is also important, keep it. For the time being, I'm just trying to put into the high. Okay, so these are all steps I demonstrated here just for your information. Check it out here. This all exactly I have done. I've taken the raw data, then I've taken the filter for the blanks in the debit and credit. I have used the net. That's fine. I have not covered, but you can see it. Then I inserted a column that's a document number. Then I have used this particular function. Then I filtered for the blanks from both the debit and credit. I deleted those items. Then select the blank cells. Just copy paste the above value. And finally, this is what the data you got. Okay. Simply, you can just convert this date format into the date format and you can work on this data. Now you can do the proper audit. Now, first audit, what I'll be doing, as Sir mentioned, I can just go here and I can paste special values and I can go to the data and I can delete the duplicates. First of all, I can have a proper scrutiny. How many voucher types are there? There are only 4 voucher types. 5 are there: journal, purchase, payment, receipt, sales. This is one important immediate aspect. We understood that, okay, whatever the company for which we are doing the audit, maybe their internal controls with respect to the system may not be great. And I can just go through the ledger accounts, what they have. Okay, either you can dump from the tally. Of course, Alok sir always suggests that. But if you are having here, maybe you can simply delete it and you just click it and you can find all these ledger accounts. Now, I want to have cash related ledgers out for the analysis. Now, what I can simply do, these all other ledger accounts, I can put on the top ledgers. While doing the job, I allocate a couple of ledgers for my staff. Cash I'm allocating to, let's say, Saranya, my other friend. Okay, Saranya. So Saranya has to take all these cash ledgers out and she has to do the little analysis out of it. My question for all of you, how I can take all the cash? Maybe you may say that, Mr. Saran, it's very simple. What you can do, just put the filter from top to bottom. Then you can, oops, let me have the filter. 1 second. Yeah, let me have the filter, right? Then you can just go here. You can take cash. But if you take cash, only cash related items will come. But I don't want that. I want to review the other leg. That is most important. Once you review the other leg, based on that, you can again take that other leg related ledger. That is the way you need to go to the analytical approach, right? So it's very simple. Don't worry. What I'll be doing, I will first take all the cash related vouchers. What I'll be doing, this is what the ledgers. Now I want to allocate the entire day book for the Saranya. Let's take cash transactions. How you can take cash transactions? It's very simple. As I already mentioned, you first search for the cash. You identify all these document numbers. You copy that. You just go here. Document number is this, paste. Okay, sorry. Let me copy this and you can just go here, paste. These are all of the document numbers where cash vouchers are there. Sometimes people intentionally keep the cash. Don't think that every time cash is there, either in the payment or receipt. Sometimes people intentionally keep it into the journal. Okay, so I have just taken all these ledgers which are impacting the cash. Now, what I need to do, I will just go here. Okay, now I will remove the filter. I will go to the end. I will just check whether this is cash related transactions or not. I'll simply use equal to VLOOKUP, one of the great function of Microsoft Excel. VLOOKUP is a vertical lookup. You can look the data vertical. What I'll be doing, I will cross check whether this particular document number is available in this list of the documents. Okay, if you look into the syntax, this is what the lookup value, and the second one is the table array. I'll just check it out whether it is available in this table. If it is available, then I want the same column value as an answer. If not, okay, then it has to go, it has to give me the NA error. Okay, and it is an exact match, enter. Now, just for the identification quickly, now let me just select height and let me little zoom less. Yeah, so that you can see entirely into one screen. Have a look. I'm indirectly giving an instruction to the Excel. Excel, please search whether this one is available in the cash related document ledgers. If it is, give me the same value here. If not, then give me the an error. That means this is not belongs to the cash. Just copy paste. Okay. Please. Once you, yeah, I need to freeze the dollar symbol. Select this and put F4, enter. Right? If you identify carefully, these all are NA. That means these all are not belongs to the cash, either debit or credit. But if you observe here, this is 4. That means this entire entry is required for me to analyze. These all are the cash related and so on. What you can simply do, just have the filter. Let me go to the filter. Let me search for other than NA. Okay, sorry. Let me search for select other than NA. These all are the cash entries. Just copy this. Then you can just go here, go to the top, and you can simply paste here. Okay, you can just, yeah, you can paste here. These all are the cash related transactions. Then you can do a lot of analysis on this. Now you can see how many are linked to the bank, and bank related provisions also you can correlate. How many are linked to the particular ledgers? Okay, maybe out of that, frequently for one ledger of the vendor which is happening, so you can take that vendor account and you can verify the KYC whether he is a proper, because generally the cash transaction happen with the known customers or known vendors. Okay, if the same thing is happening again and again, just check it out whether at the back end the KYC, is there any related party? If yes, because we need to mention that into our audit report. If not, then just check it out what are the other transactions that are happening with him, and so on. So taking one point, going ahead till where we get the comfort is nothing but your analytical procedures. Okay, so this is one way of doing extracting these items. Now, out of even this, maybe you can allocate as the samples. Very simple. What I'll be doing here, I will simply take, okay, now let me take this little further with respect to the sampling. Now I want to take samples. How many samples I want to take? I want to take maybe 10 samples out of all these. You can take the sampling method. You can randomly identify, or maybe you can select. Those values will be only the entire audit, and we do 90% go with the test checking. You can take maybe 20, 30 vouchers out of this. Then you can just put your sample out of the cash transactions. Okay, cash transactions. Extract those things out. If you observe, knowingly or unknowingly, my documentation is created automatically. Okay, I'm sure you all aware that working papers are one of the most important. If you are not having the working paper, that implied meaning as if you are not done the audit. Maybe your intention is correct, you have done the proper audit. Maybe at the time when you get a call from the regulator, I think Premnath sir might have shown already the NFRA report where they mentioned at so many places the documents are missing and so on, working papers are missing. To safeguard those type of things, at least these all are the proper checking where you can do, and tomorrow you can demonstrate before the authority so that at least they believe. Maybe their mindset is always negative. They always come and ask you the question as if you have done the mistake. But when you start explaining this entirely as a story, putting all the working papers and the procedures, at least their mindset may change. They may go into the other aspects, maybe with respect to the analytical procedures or maybe the judgment related. Okay, so this entirely is also acting as a working paper. You can take the samples, that sample related data you can take out. Maybe you can take extract of those documents and you can ask your staff to do the vouching and so on. Vijay sir, if you don't mind, I'll also take another 10 to 15 minutes. Yeah, Premna sir.
Yeah, Sharan. So related working I have on the day book. I'll just share
please
my working.
Please.
You can just disable your share.
Yeah.
So I have exactly the fantastic process as Sharan has displayed here. This is exactly what we have seen. This is what is the file Sharan has shown you. That is date and then particulars. You can just see there are 80,000 line items. 80,000 line items are there. Then primary group asset, whether this account belongs to which group, then amount, debit and credit. So this is the data which is there around 2,500 line items of ledger accounts. So these are the groups and accounts. So from this, if I can make a pivot table, which is, I think it is before you, any members can, the members who are viewing can please type in the chart, what is the seriousness in the data that is before you on the screen now. Can someone quickly type what are the serious issues that you are able to identify from this analysis in the chart? Quickly, please. Or maybe even the panelist can type some serious things that you observe in this pivot table, which is generated from this table. From this data, this pivot is generated And the pivot is arranged in this way. First is group, and second one is primary group. And you have taken all the voucher types here. All the voucher types here. And this is how the data is organized. I just see one, yes, negative balances, cash, bank balances, negative. Any other very serious things? Fixed assets? Any other very serious things you observe? Any other very serious things you observe? Let me discuss here. You can see sundry creditors. Sales are made to the sundry creditors, which is against. Generally, I'm talking about general things. And similarly, you have sales vouchers to the sundry. Sales vouchers should be only to the duties and taxes and sundry debtors. But you see here, sales vouchers are given to sundry creditors. Similarly, purchases, sundry creditors, most reasonable. But you see purchases, taxes reasonable. But you see purchases to sundry debtors. Normally we don't get this kind of 3D view of data in Tally. But once, like as Sharon has rightly demonstrated, converting the total daybook and sanitizing it into this format, and Sharon was generous enough in typing what steps you need to do. After that, I have added the groups here so that for this data, I have appended which primary group and group so that this itself is becoming a balance sheet and profit and loss account. Now you can see here, payments are there. Direct, you can see a payment is made in a direct income. A payment voucher is accepted in direct income. Similarly, receipts. There are receipts in indirect expenses and direct expenses. And you can see a whole lot of JVs in each and every account. Each and every account, there are huge JVs. Whether the data what I am working is perfect or not, you can see it is zeros all, because it is a daybook. At the end of the daybook, you have minus and plus, debit and credit. Debit and credit should be equal amounts, and then naturally it is minus and plus, it becomes zero here. And contra entries, I'm just trying to find out if contra entries other than hitting banks, it's not there positively. And you can see here, cash is in receipts, cash is in payments, opening cash is there, and you have, we can just see here, anything else in the cash, there's nothing else in this. This is how you can seriously look at by arranging this data in this format. This is advantage of pivot table, and this is the advantage of converting the daybook for a 3D view of whole data. And much more analysis you can do it, like as Sharon has rightly pointed out. If you want to see the total cash transactions, cash transactions, just double hit on this. And you will find all the cash transactions here. Or even you can, all this will automatically get converted into a separate.
Click on them.
Yes, this is what. So this is what is all cash transactions have been coming into one place. So this is another way of analyzing all the transactions into it. Yes. Having said this, having talked about the pivot table, let me just go back into Tally again. So as yesterday I was talking about select commands. So anyhow, I'll share that select commands again. What I'm trying to do here is, I think it's visible to you here. So I'm just taking select name parent. Okay, you want to see the syntax here? I need to share, I think. Yeah, just a moment. Am I sharing this?
No, sir, not it.
Yeah,
Not
sorry.
it.
Okay, let me share. So having said this, this is the control N. This is control N for the box here, where we generally do calculator, use it as a calculator. But here, this you can use it as a select command. You can see here I am selecting name from a parent. For that, I need opening and closing balances from the ledger. Once I do this, this is the report that is available. Now you may ask me, what is the advantage of this kind of report? The advantages, let me just again go back to Excel. Yeah. This is the trial balance. This is how you will get the trial balance. I'm sorry. Sorry. Yeah. This is the trial balance through which we work on. I think I'm sharing it. So this is a trial balance where you don't get after this on a identifying column, you don't get the head of account here or grouping. If you don't get this, then you can't make a pivot table. If you can't make a pivot table, you can't have a 3D view of the data. That's what we have seen now. So I want to know for every head of account against this in the other column, to which head of account, to which group this belongs. Otherwise, what we are doing is this trial balance, we are using plus, plus, plus. That's what yesterday Sharon was demonstrating. Now, what is the advantage of generating a select command in Tally like this? You can export this into Tally. You have here export this into Tally. I don't want to. I hope most of you are aware of exporting this into Tally. So let me just share the Excel file. So once I export that Tally file, which it says here the group of account, the account and the parent group, opening and debit. Now from this itself, I can make a balance sheet without is equal to, because you know that I can make from pivot, I can easily make it. And from that pivot only, I can make the subschedules and schedules as well. Let me demonstrate that again in another file. I think yeah, this is where so once this is a pivot, but when I make a pivot, it comes into alphabetical order. But when you try to make this, we need to describe. You have to describe here. You can just observe.
Exactly.
I have described the account in the serial order. In a serial order, I have described it. One moment. Yeah. Yeah. So I've described it as a serial order. These schedule names. When I make a pivot table on the schedule or subschedule, whatever it is, ultimately you will get a balance sheet readily prepared. You just see in order. To prepare this, we struggle a lot. We give is equal to, is equal to, is equal to, and you know how our students do this. A tallied balance sheet in Tally is tallied for 1 week. They say, sir, it is not tallied. And when you try to put pressure on the students, they automatically tally with some figures, adding some things into it. And we see the totals and then blindly sign it because we don't have a time. So to avoid these kind of things, I'm just trying to put on controls in the process through pivot table, and that pivot table is customizing and generating a reports like this. And where do you learn all this? How do you learn all this? It's an English-like language. This is just the syntax is English-like language. This is not 104 satellites being launched on one single rocket. That kind of ISRO syntaxes are not there here. So for that, what you need to see is, this is the site where you have in Tally. You can just type, you can simply type in Google SQL Tally. Then you get this, and you have all help on how to write this syntaxes. So this is customizing Tally so that work becomes very easy. And because we don't have the luxury of article students at this point of time, we need to learn all these things and learn for few, not whole lot of time, learn, customize it and put it into place. Then our work becomes simple. Yes, please. So I'm just stopping it. I'll either Vijay or Sharan can take that.
Yes, sir,
Yes, sir.
you want to continue,
Yeah.
or shall I? Shall I
Yeah,
take?
just one point. I would like to continue. I would like to tell you how to take the sampling. You can either select in the Tally itself. We can take the support of Alexa. Otherwise, I told you right, here there are almost like how many document numbers are there? 981 transactions are there. Maybe I want to give a sample of 20 items to my staff. So what I can simply do, if you go to the developer tab, if you go to the Excel add-in, analysis toolpack is something which we don't enable generally. Okay, generally that doesn't appear, but let me enable that. You can just go to the analysis toolpack. Let me click OK. Once you click OK, if you go into the data tab, the last group is having data analysis. Once you click here, a lot of statistical analysis you can do out of this. However, many things are not relevant for us. One important thing in this case, which is very much relevant for me, is the sampling. What I'll do, once I click OK, the sampling, it is asking what is the input range. This is what my population for the cash transactions. And out of this population, I want to take how many random samples I want to take. I want to ask my staff to look into at least 50 transactions out of it. Okay, so where you want to get your output range? I want my output range must come from here. And also my suggestion at every step, I told you, right? Everything can be your working paper. Generally, this is what I follow. Maybe if you think this is a good standard, you can also follow. I take a snap of it. I'll put just besides this, so that tomorrow I can tell to the any regulator, maybe it can act as a working paper for me. Now let me just click OK. Once I click OK, it has given me 20 random samples. Sorry, in this case, 50 random samples. I can exactly get this data from my main data daybook, and I can ask my staff to look into each and every document. Again, to get this data out, what you need to do generally, you need to go and write the VLOOKUP function. Again, what I have done, copy paste only other than any values, that is one staff name. Then you can take again maybe separate ledger account, just copy paste all the document numbers, you take the samples, and for each person, if you can make a sheet, even after 5 years, if you open the document, even for the junior most article student can understand what is the methodology, what you have followed. So of course, whatever the method, Premnath sir, in fact, I still remember when I was working with the corporate, I worked with a company called Credit Suisse Bank. That time exactly the same procedure we used to do. We were following the PeopleSoft ERP. So PeopleSoft having its own ledgers, we were having almost like 2,500 to 3,000 ledger accounts. For each ledger account, we have taken almost like I have taken 2 days time that time. For every ledger account, we have prepared as per the schedule, face of the balance sheet and P&L, what is the description. That is only one-time job. Once you are done, every year, your work will be very much simplified. Next year, only extra job what you need to do, if any extra ledger accounts been added during the year, you can just add that and you can put what is face of the balance sheet, the description and P&L, what's are mentioned. You can make a pivot table. That pivot itself is acting as your entire balance sheet and P&L, as simple as it. Okay. This is sample one point which I would like to cover. Again, let me tell you, if you go to the developer tab, sometimes you may not find the developer tab. If that is the case, go to the file tab, go to the options. There you can find an option called customize ribbon. Probably the developer might have unchecked. Please check that. If your version is very old version, then you can go to the general. Here itself, you'll find one tab called enable developer tab. You can check that. Once you find it, in that you can find Excel add-ins. In that analysis tool pack by default come with every Microsoft version. Excel, just click it. Then you go to the data, go to the data analysis. Then in that you'll find a option called sampling. Once you click it, it asks you to select the input range and where you want to paste the output range, and you give the random number of sampling 50. Okay, just click OK. Those all items will come. And better you keep the screenshot besides that, so that will be there along with the document. Maybe after 1 year, if I want to go and back and check it out whether I properly followed the scientific methodology, at least that is as an evidence I can show. Okay, I'm just stopping here. Maybe after Vijay sir give his couple of points, I'll come back if required.
Yeah, I think
Vijay sir,
maybe.
over to you.
Considering the time factor, probably I thought of covering the Gst reconciliation. It might take some time, so I don't want to rush on that. Probably we can cover that point tomorrow, rather than just rushing through, because there was a query also, many queries based on this GSTR reconciliation. So probably tomorrow we can start off with that particular point. Maybe few things I can share in terms of the way you summarize your GSTR 9. Okay, probably you can just make use of a simple tips, like if in case I want to summarize my GSTR class 4 and 5 in GSTR 9. Usually when we do this audit, when we capture the comments based on whether it is captured in GSTR 3B or not, of course, post reconciliation, what I'm saying about, as I said, reconciliation will take up tomorrow. But what I would do is probably I'll just define the names. So Control Shift F3 is what we use. Let me just mention over here. It is Control. 1 second. Let me just mention the steps also, so that to define the names out of the selection. So what I'm taking is I'm taking the top row as a label where I create the references. So while creating the references, anytime if I have to call any of the values, whether it is taxable income or total GST, it will be referring to that particular column. Now, once I have done that, I use two steps only. One, I'll use indirect, where I can refer to that particular text, because if I'm referring indirectly to this taxable income, that will be calling up that particular value. And of course, sum ifs, that is the sum based criteria, based on a criteria, I'll be summing up. Okay. Now, if in case I want to capture B2C sales or B2B sales into GSTR 4 and 5, what I can simply do is I'll just say sum ifs. What is the sum range? Obviously, we are looking for sum of taxable income, because that's the same heading what we have. If you go back to the heading part, we have taxable income, IGST, CGST. That's the only point you need to take care whether the heading is matching with the label what you have created. So I would use is equal to sum ifs. I would use indirect of the particular heading. That sum I want to get based on a criteria. What is the criteria? In our column label, we called it as, if I go back to that, this is called as type of supplies. So what I'll do is I'll call that type of supplies, because that's a label which you have already created. On what type of supply? Obviously, I'm looking for this. Now, in this case, before I copy the formula, because I just want to enter the formula once, so that I can take care of copying it across my selected. So what I would do is I'll freeze whatever is required. Like my heading is in top row, that is row number 1. I'll put a freeze before row number 1. And when it comes to the type of column value, what we are looking for, rather, in fact, I can remove this, the entire thing, because A2 can be directly referred to. I would put a freeze before column A. So by doing that, if I say Control Enter, that will be copied across. The same thing, I can come back to the other headings. Only thing is that I just need to pull out the type of supply what we have based on the clause applicable. So that is very much available once you apply a filter in the type of supply. You can see what kind of supplies we are dealing with, B2B, B2C, so and so, so and so. The same headings I'll pull out. So I'll just copy the same formula because we have ensured that we have freeze the respective top row and the leftmost column. I'll just select that and say paste it, come back, select that, paste it, come back, select that, paste it. So just to cross check if we got the right income or not, I can just say sum of indirect of the respective taxable income what we have, and it is matching with this. Just to cross validate to check whether the amounts are matching or not, whether the entire things. I'm just showing a simple way of summarizing, okay, where we are trying to get the sum of those respective heads based on a type of supply. The simple logic here is we have used these references where we have defined the respective column headings. And once we have defined, anytime we can use so-called indirect function to capture that particular part. Likewise, probably I want to have the summary of the respective heads for each of the month. Okay, like I have kept this data validation, whether it is taxable income or total GST, total value, I want to cross check. This also can be done by using simple sum if s, wherein this time I want to get the sum of the respective heading based on a criteria range called type of supply. So type of supply is referred to in this column. Before that, let me freeze column B. And for which month? Obviously, I'll say month based on this particular criteria. Okay, so here I'll freeze whatever is required. I'll freeze both in this case and also the row number 2 in this case. So once I've done, only thing is that we can use execute this select the shift holding till the entire value, whatever you want to. Okay, control backspace is what yesterday we have discussed to come back to the active cell. I'll say F2, I'll say control enter. Now what it has summarized for each of the supplies for respective months, it has got the sum total, which is matching with the amount what we got, 31 crores 94 lakh. You can improvise by using this indirect functions. It becomes so handy. And I'm just speaking about class 4 or 5. You can have class 17, which speaks about rate-wise display also. You can easily categorize that rate-wise also with a simple function. If required, probably if there is a query in the Google form, I can take it up tomorrow. And that is one way of using this sum if s and indirect. And one more, let me just stop sharing this. And only thing is that I don't want to get into that so-called reconciliation because it might take some 20-25 minutes at this point of time. Let me also cover another aspect of aging analysis because we thought we can do this aging analysis directly from the tally. But if in case your age, the details are not configured in your tally, now how is that I'm going to do? Come back to this particular ledger what we have created. Let's say, okay, I think I'll just open up the right file. Yeah, so there is a question. Okay, it's pretty much answer. Yeah, so let's say if I have not properly configured my aging in my tally, now I've exported this sundry data, how I'm going to create my aging out of this? A simple VLOOKUP along with the combination of pivot can do this in a simplest way. So what I would do is, first of all, I would like to find out what is the age as on the number of days. I'll say call it as due days. Okay, so if I'm finding as on 31st of March 2021, I would like to find out how many days. Let's convert into general format. So this is due for 362 days, so and so, so and so. I've deducted the transaction date from my 31st of March because these are all the sundry debtors outstanding ledger what I've generated out of as on 31st of March. Once I have that, let's have a grouping. Let's say I want to have 0 to 90 days as one grouping, and I say 90 to 180 days as one grouping, and 180 to 270 days, maybe 270 to 365, and we'll say greater than 365 days, if in case we have any. So I'll take the lowest of these values because when it comes to VLOOKUP, going with an approximate match, it goes in ascending order considering the lowest of the values. So I'll say 0, 90. Likewise, it is throwing up the flash fill anyway. You can use that. 365. These are the lowest of the values out of this slab. Now I'll use an age where I will do a VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP, I look for this particular days in the slab, what I'm looking for, the aging, because we are going to copy this to the next of the rows. I'll freeze both the selection. I want, once I look for this particular day falling into this criteria, I want to pick up the second column value as an approximate match, because we are dealing with a number which is falling into either of these. The option while what I'll be using is true. Okay, so I'll use this and copy this across. So what it has done for each of the transaction, it has copied in which age slab it is falling. Now our job becomes easy. I'll just insert a pivot table. I'll go with the new sheet. Sorry, it has, I think, picked up the wrong selection. So let me just manually select the entire thing. I'll insert a pivot in the new sheet. Now what I want is, let's say, I want to have based on the parties, I want to have maybe the taxable value, and I want to have aging. I'll just drag the age factor into my column heading. Now what we got, of course, it will be sorted based on the number, starting number. So I can just probably rearrange it in the way what I'm looking for. Now what you got is a proper aging of each of the parties and for which particular date it is falling into. If required, I also want to probably have the count of those transactions. The same can be copied, the same source can be made intact. Copy it over here. Now instead of sum, let's change the values to count so that I can find out which particular transaction is for particular amount, how many number of transactions are outstanding. Now, obviously, this aging helps so much. In fact, in case of forensic, this is where the first step starts with, of course, leaving apart the Benford laws and all that stuff, because I can identify if there is any impact, if there is any related party falling into this aging, because obviously, if I'm taking a facility from the bank by paying 10%, 11%, and why is that I'm losing money to debtors, keeping idle this particular amount while discharging the interest, one aspect. Second aspect, if it is going beyond 270 days and where others are making a payment, there should be some arrangement between the parties, whether it is an influential or preferential kind of transaction. I'll get into that particular thing. And if it is going beyond 1 year, probably it will be more interesting case because settlement might have happened outside the books. And that could be one reason where I have to go for further investigation kind of. So the aging is such a good area to start with when it comes to forensic. Gives 360 in terms of the same aging we can do in creditors as well. Because if I map both and see the same throughout my subsidiaries, I can frame a proper circle the way transactions have routed through the subsidiaries and coming back sitting into my holding company. So this is a simple way of drawing your aging analysis out of the data table. Yeah. I think I'll stop at this stage because tomorrow we can start with, we'll cover a couple of important aspects about Gst reconciliation. We'll see the way we can prepare a consolidated financial statement from standalone by simple click of a button. That also we'll see tomorrow. And meanwhile, let me stop sharing at this point of time. And, let me see if Saran wants to add something at this point of time, or probably it's hardly 2 minutes for the close-up session, or maybe Alok sir want to say something. We can proceed.
Yeah, nothing, sir.
Nothing. Okay. Any doubts? Otherwise, probably is the Google form shared, sir? Deepak sir?
Sir, yes, sir. We have shared the Google form. I'll send it again once again in the chat.
Yeah, please. So that please, friends, make this opportunity. We are here to. It's a win-win, of course. For me, it's a knowledge enrichment. If you are putting some question, some challenge to me, I'll be learning through that. And obviously, you can make something out of it. Probably, if you are struggling with something, where handling could be Tally or could be Excel or whatever the way you want to come out with analytics or forensics kind of thing, make this opportunity. Try to post some questions. And tomorrow is going to be the last day. Let's try to address those questions for.
I would like to add, sir, that at the same time, we can also add aging in Tally for debtors, creditors, etc., as well as for even for those inventory items to identify which items have not been in sales or purchase for longer period of time, or not non-moving items also.
Yes.
The same thing can be used even in Tally as well as in Excel.
Yeah, if possible, if you can come cover that point tomorrow, probably the members might have a little demo about that particular aspect as well.
Sure, sir.
Time permits, of course.
Premnath sir, would you like to add something, sir?
I think today we have learned again more on the configuration, and where we are not able to do a 360-degree view in Tally, we have taken that into Excel, and from Excel into Pivot, and a little bit of data cleaning is required. That is where Power Pivot plays a dominant role. So that anyhow, Vijay Srinivas will be covering those issues tomorrow. If I can do one time and then set it, save it. So any number of times you put the data into it, it automatically you can go back to the final view. This is what I am trying to say again and again, is we are trying to customize. As we customize, we are trying to make a macro kind of thing. Now there are no macros thanks to Power Query. And so because of it, everything is becoming simple. You do it one time. It's not like Rajnikant movie where you say one time 100 times. Now you do it one time, you can do it n number of times, not 100 times. You can customize. That's where we can optimize. Let's not feel that there is shortage of articles and manpower. Let us cooperate. Let us come together. Let us unite. Let us work together, so that we can get out of this crisis at this point of time. Yes, sir. You can continue, sir.
Thank you, Premnath sir, and all the speakers. A excellent, wonderful day to coming to an end. I'm worried how 2 hours are going so fast. I think the expectations of the audience is getting hunger. That hunger is getting, in fact, my hunger is getting more. So, but as we know, we have to stick to the timelines. That's one of the discipline a professional should have. Clear, sir. Another century on day 2 with many sixers and balls going out of the ground. Very thankful for all the speakers and the delegates for wonderful interaction and knowledge dissemination. Thank you. I request SICASA Chairman Sitaram Reddy to propose to formal vote of thanks.
Great learning from all the learned speakers, especially from Premnath sir and Vijay sir and Alok sir and Saran sir. Today's learning is it's useful for daily routine activities, and definitely it's going to enhance our knowledge of all the members. And thank you for giving this tour. And if you're all your permit, then we can have one more session on work on this what you call workshops. Hands-on experience and workshop with the permission of all your see why the combination also very really good, sir. So whenever sometimes Alok sir, sometimes Vijay Srinivas sir and Saran sir and Premnath sir, wherever required you are interfering and we are enhancing the knowledge of all the audience. So that's so great, sir. And thank you once again on behalf of the institute, and thank you all the participants. And tomorrow also we have the same timing. And sir, we are sharing in the YouTube also, sir. Why? Because even if someone will miss out, so that they can view in future also. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I request all the delegates to kindly pose the question by tomorrow before 2 p.m. so that we will pass on to the speakers and we can get the probable solutions tomorrow. It will be the last day. So please take the best use of this opportunity. Thank you. Thank you, Premnath sir. Thank you, Alok ji. Thank you, Vijay Srinivas sir. Thank you, Saran sir. Thank you, all the delegates. Good night. Signing off for the day.